Hello and welcome back to Man v Film. As promised, I'm back with my brief Q&A, and of course, if I've missed any questions, forgive me. I'm only human. I've tried my best to try and capture everything here to work through together and give you some answers to your very well thought out questions. So first up, we have Cinemaniac78. Congratulations, Graham. My question: will this be the year that you check out two masterpieces of cinema? Those being Seven Samurai and, of course, Whitefire. Now, Whitefire is something that goes back to my live stream days, where uh, quite often I would go buying movies while doing a live stream and get bullied in several times to pick up some things. Whitefire was one of those movies, and it's become a kind of running joke since then. People wanted me to watch it. I used it as a mouse mat for a longest while as well on my live streams. Will I get to Whitefire? I just don't know. Everything about it screams that I'm going to enjoy it, but it just feels good to have something that in the background that I know is waiting for that one day when I need to sit and watch it. Seven Samurai is something that I am absolutely going to check out. I got the 4K when it came out last year. I am looking at my schedule of when do I get time alone? Like enough time to sit and just revel in that film, get up in the morning, put it on, and enjoy the hell out of it. For me, that's going to be late April. Late April is a time where I have a holiday, nobody else is off, I have the house to myself. I'm going to be able to sit and enjoy something like that. And I feel like that's one of those movies that I really want to sit down and just revel in. Maybe wait tonight, bring it the projector, put it on a big screen, sit and watch it. It's that kind of movie. So yes, I will definitely be getting to Seven Samurai this year. Whitefire, not so much. Next up, we have James Townend 5828. Hi Graham, great idea about the Q&A on Friday. After watching your review on Malpertuis, I bought the Radiance Blu-ray. Loved the film. My question is, can you please explain the ending? Regards, James. Okay, so there should be chapters in this video. If I've not put them in, I've been incredibly lazy. So just skip this if you don't want any spoilers. And I'm going to try to do my best because there is several endings to Malpertuis, and some of them are, well, not really great endings because they just lead into more ambiguity. But the basic plot here is Casavius is a kind of warlock who has trapped all the old ancient Greek gods in his house and is trying to create a race of demigods through his family member of Yan. That's the basic kind of understanding of why everything is happening. There is a lot more endings that tack on to this and make it more convoluted, but that's ultimately the basic plot of the film, the kind of ending. Hopefully that helps. Next up, we have Bar OC 19. Congratulations on 15,000. What was the first film you remember watching, and do you feel the same way about it now, whether you liked it or disliked it? I thought a long time about this one. This was really hard to come up with because I don't know if I truly remember the first film that I ever saw. I know I was taken to the cinema and saw things. The first film that made an indelible mark on me was The Lost Boys. I loved that film. I had a VHS of it. It was one of the rare VHS that I actually wore out and had to buy a second copy. I loved the music. I loved the characters. I loved the situations and the story, the direction, everything about it. It was something I lived, breathed, and just thought wonderful. How do I feel about it now? Similarly, I love it. There's an ingrained passion within me for that film. I recently wrote a script for a visual essay that I plan on doing at some point for it. It was such a movie that just still speaks to me today, and I see more nuanced themes as I get older throughout it. It was a passion of mine, something that I actively pushed on to other people whenever I could. But for me, it's always been an absolute joy of a film to revisit. So next we have Stiff Kittens 1. Congratulations, Graham. Some questions. If the worst happened, of course, hopefully it doesn't, and you had to sell your collection, what could you never part with? Say up to 5. So certain things that just, so this is like a kind of one of those fun questions, because ultimately it's things and there is some sadness in losing them, but to still have my health, to still have my family would be the key. If I had to choose 5 items I would like to continue carrying on with me, one would be my VHS copy of Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels. It comes in a kind of alligator skin briefcase. It comes with poker chips, cards, it comes with the screenplay and the VHS of the director's cut. It's just a fun novelty that I really love, still have, and like to continue carrying that on. My Hitchcock set, which is all the film can reels, it's just something that I really like. I think it looks particularly cool, and it's one of my favourite directors, so definitely that. I've got the alien egg from Sideshow with the first 4 movies in it. Again, it's cool to look at. It's a really nice piece of kit, and something that I've always treasured and always kind of kept wherever my collection has been. It's been front and centre. Let's see, the late Mizoguchi set from Eureka. Now, this was one of those sets that I needed to complete the Master of Cinema collection. It was a tough one to get. Was never going to get it at a cheap price. It was always going to be extortionate. I managed to find it at a price that I was satisfied with paying for, and it's just something I really like having in my collection, because it basically symbolises completing that series. I keep waiting on an update of it, because it was one of those ones that was so popular that at some point it's going to update, it's going to go to 4K, it's going to get a new fancier edition or a new transfer. That's fine. The value will be wiped off it, and I don't mind that. It's a symbol of completing the collection. And I would keep my, I think it's the Titan edition of The Thing. I have so many copies of The Thing, I'd need to keep one. One would have to stay in my collection. It's the latest 4K. I love that film. I need it. So that's ones I would keep. What would you like to be seen to be made? Could be a film yet to be released, or one that's to be made. If it's not in blue but 4K, it doesn't count. DVD only, or director's cuts still to come. I would, I really enjoy books. Lots of novels, and there's been lots of stories throughout the years that I've really enjoyed. One of my favourite series is Fletch. Now, I know there's been an adaptation of Fletch and an adaptation with John Hamm recently as well, which was actually fairly good, but I like to see like a proper adaptation of those books following the character through a series of events, because there's some wonderful tales there. But for me, something, again, harking back to my childhood, I used to read a lot of point horror books, and there was one that I read multiple times that I really liked. Now, I don't think it would make a fantastic film. I don't think it would be the most earth-shattering or original thing ever, but I'd really like to see an adaptation of April Fools from point horror. I loved that tale. I loved, again, the situation. Tropey, familiar, not original, but it was comforting, and I would really like to see an adaptation of that. Next we have Chris Moan, the hardest working film buff on YouTube. Well, I don't know about that, but I appreciate that. Congratulations on the massive milestone. You've done more for curating my film viewing habits than just about any person on the planet, so massive thank you. A question: top favourites of films you've never heard anybody talking about? Okay, so I had a quick look at this, and I just pulled some together. Now, this might not be complete, but films I want to highlight. There was one called Pimped that came out in 2018. This was when I was covering Fright Fest. I loved that film. It was very unique. It was a great thriller. Wasn't anything outstanding or anything that would really set the world on fire, but it was a really great film, and I never hear anybody talking about that. I've never seen it anywhere since I first saw it, and it's something that if you can get a chance to seek out, do it. There's a wonderful bait and switch all the way through it. It was just a really great film, minimal cast that really stuck with me, and one that I would thoroughly recommend. Last year, from Vinegar Syndrome, they released Side Roads. This, for a film that must have had a lot of copies bought, it's only been watched on, or marked as watched on Letterboxd for like 290 times or something. It's bonkers. It's not a good movie, but my goodness, is it so enjoyable and so much fun. And it's one of those everything in the kitchen sink movies. The things that happen are so left field, it's so out there and wild. The acting is really like, it's not great, but it elevates the film. The production standards again aren't great, but they elevate the film. It was just purely enjoyable. I would put it up there with Tough Guys Don't Dance. It feels very similar to that. Yeah, not a great movie, but my goodness, it's so enjoyable. From 1944, I would say The Hitler Gang from director John Farrell. This is such a wild take on that tale. It's framed like the rise and fall of a gangster and putting Hitler into that role. And the film doesn't feel like it's fully condemning him at the start, only kind of later on did they add that in. And it's such a strange take coming immediately, after the war, very close to it. It's such a strange and unusual look at this person who was truly horrific in his actions, yet how they frame the story is just so weird. Definitely worth checking out. From director Sam Ashford, micro-budgeted, a little more flesh. It was something that came out in 2020. I kind of had a back and forth with him. He sent me a link to check this one out. Thoroughly enjoyed this one a hell of a lot. It is a micro-budgeted film, but there is a commentary over it from the director. And as it goes on, there is all kinds of things that come out that just make it kind of unique and interesting. So like I say, it's a micro-budget film. If you can find a copy of it, bear with it. It's short, it's punchy, some really great twists along the way, some great revelations, and just a really fun film. And I'm going to pull one very recently. Now, I went to Letterboxd and I was looking at films that I liked that hadn't have a lot of views. One from the Wicked Games set. Again, it's only been viewed about 300 times or marked as watched on Letterboxd, and that is Robert Hosseini's Nude in a White Car. Now, I haven't done a review for that yet, or it's not up as yet. I loved this film. This was a great film noir, great characters, setting, situation, and a wonderful plot. I had a great deal of fun with that film, and that's a recent one that's just come out at the tail end of last year. So if you haven't seen that, I definitely recommend it. Next up, we have Jordan Brand from 1983. Congrats, Graham. What is your strategy or outlook with dealing with comments and trolls? I honestly, I just don't care. And it does happen a lot. And usually I'll kind of screenshot them and laugh at them with friends. I don't really respond. Sometimes I'll heart them just for the sake of it. Sometimes I'll just kill them with kindness. I can't really be bothered, and I'm not something I'm going to put much of my energy into. It's not something I'm going to overly acknowledge. I just kind of like, okay, and move on. I just don't have time for it. Why bother putting energy into something like that? Then we have Fangirl 1988. Congratulations, you really deserve it. What decade is your favourite film releases? Now, I would have to go 80s. It's the era where I grew up. I was attending video stores. I was getting into all different kinds of films. I love horror, so it was predominantly a great time for that. If I was to choose a backup, I would choose the 70s because of the way that Hollywood was really trying different things, because of the spate of the Italian movies that came out aping Hollywood, which was just wonderful. A much better era for product in the 80s. but the 80s was my era, so it's always going to be my favourite. Next, we have the Loft Movie Theatre. Hi, Graham. Here is our question for your Q&A. If I could wave a wand and magic 3 unreleased films into your collection, what would they be? Now, I've went a little bit more than 3. I've picked 5 here. I don't know if they have releases or not, but in this country, they don't. They could have them out there. So I have picked up I really like the Empty Man on 4K. I loved that horror movie. I think that was one of the best of recent memory. A terrific horror that really was unsettling under the skin and was really enjoyable with some fantastic performances. Next, I would love an edition of Cast a Deadly Spell. Fred Ward stars as a detective in a world full of magic and set in the 40s. It's a wonderful idea. I love it. Every time I go back to it, it's just fun and inventive. I would really like to see a great edition of that. I would love to see it packaged with the sequel that I never saw, Witch Hunt. If I could get a double pack of that, that would be amazing. A horror movie that I always hear people talking about, never seen, but I'd like to see it, and that is Elves. It would be great to just get an edition of that because everybody seems to rave about it. So one I would love to check out. Another fun one from my childhood is a silly one, and it's not like a movie that's going to set the world on fire again. It is Prayer of the Roller Boys. I watched this a hell of a lot. Corey Haim, Patricia Arquette. It is silly, over the top. I enjoy the hell out of it. And finally, I've picked another one from the 80s, and that is Ghost Chase. It's not the best movie ever, but there is something kind of comforting about it. I love the design, the ghosts, the story. Like I said, not fully unique, but it harkens back to a time where I really kind of loved this. I watched this a year or two ago, and it wasn't great. I'd still really like a nice edition in my collection. So yeah, there's 5 unreleased films, I think. I've covered more in the hope that I do actually pick out 3 that haven't had releases. Next, we have Exploitation RR. Congrats. My question, many horror exploitation film fans from our generation got started really young, thanks in part to parents bringing home crazy stuff from the VHS rental places. Do I have any stories about films I saw too young that has stuck with me? Yes. From the VHS days, again, it was my home away from home. I used to go there just to hang out, talk to people, look through video covers and movies, and pick something. It was always a kind of interesting time. You would discover so many kinds of movies. I remember picking up Troll, which is a film that I absolutely adore. It wasn't scary. It was a little bit twisted. I had some great effects, and it's one that I still go back to every now and again. For me, one of the biggest kind of events for our family was a new Nightmare on Elm Street film. We adored them. We would get together, we would all sit, we'd stick on the new Freddy adventure and just love it. It was a staple, you know, for those early years where they were just turning them out every other year. And we would, you know, definitely pick it up straight away and definitely sit there as a family and scare the crap out of each other. When somebody went to the bathroom, you can guarantee that somebody's jumping out of some crevice or cupboard on the way back to the living area just to scare the crap out of them. But it was a communal thing, and there was never a thing about, oh, you're too young to watch this. It was, we're all watching it. Join if you want. When you went to the video stores, it was a time where there were a lot more lax on the age rating. You could walk in there, prepubescent teen, and still walk out 13 with an 18 movie, and the guy just going, you'll like this one, because they knew you were regulars. You could get away with just hiring these kind of films, which was a great time, something I really reminisce about a lot. And finally, we have Andy Gardner, 3910. Hey Graham, well done sir, definitely something to celebrate. I'll ask a simple question on this opportunity. Will you be doing a favourite films of 2025 video from Radiance, Arrow, etc.? Also, were there enough decent films from VS to fill a best of top 10? I will absolutely be doing a top 10 of Radiance releases, of Eureka releases, and of my favourite releases this year or last year. I don't think I'm going to be doing a VS one. I don't think it was an outstanding year, and it was the year that caused me to go, enough's enough. I'm done. I don't need to join the Vinegar Syndrome train anymore. So yes, Eureka, and yes to Radiance, the two big companies where I've got lots of things from. I may do an Arrow one, but I don't know if I got too many titles this year. Well, I did, but I don't know if I could cover it. Well, you know what? Maybe I could. I might do an Arrow one because I did get enough titles. There was enough big titles there that really shine for me. But I need to watch all the movies first. I can't, in all good conscience, do a review for Radiance when I've still got about 8 movies to watch from their last year's spin. I've still got about 6 movies from Eureka to watch. So these lists will be coming. I'm not in a rush. It's not a race to get out there before anybody else. If anybody else wants to throw a list out, good for them. I need to have seen all the movies first. I'm very stringent about that on myself. If I haven't seen them, I can't comment on them. I can't create a fully curated list if I'm not 100% certain. So yes, they are coming. I mean, hopefully January. Worst case scenario, February. I shouldn't be later than that, come on. Yeah, so there I have it. 10 questions that were asked by you guys. If I've missed anyone out, I'm dreadfully sorry. I must just have missed it in my rush to get this video done. As always, thanks for your support. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, there is more content up here. You can see more of my stuff in the description box. Links to Patreon, membership program, and manvfilm.com. Always in which you can support. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you next time.